Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new up in this place, my name is Ntwaniengomane. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by and for clicking on this video, and for keeping up with my inconsistency. Like, I know I've been in and out, like, girl, are you even still on YouTube? But I am I think I need to call myself out for the inconsistency and try to do better. If you're new here and you're wondering what we talk about careers here, we talk about self-development. I do a little bit of lifestyle content through showing my life in London, and a little bit of vlogs as well. So if that's your kind of thing, please do stick up, click the subscribe button. It is absolutely free. And I just wanted to also talk to you guys about something new that YouTube has introduced. It's called super thanks. So if you look down on this video, there's a little heart button there that you can click on and sort of show appreciation for this channel financially. So you can sort of super thanks with any amount of your choice, and those funds will go through advancing this channel, through maybe getting a vlogging camera. I really want to get a vlogging camera because I'm planning on vlogging my December experience at home for the first time without seeing my family for 12 months. So I'm planning on doing that, and those funds basically are gonna go towards that, and you guys can then enjoy that content. If we don't hit that financially, it's still fine. I am still gonna vlog, don't feel bad. I am still gonna vlog on my phone rather. And yeah, so that's just a new feature. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel, if you do not want to, you are not pressured in any way. But if you do feel the need to contribute to this channel financially, you can click that super thanks button. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get on to today's video. So today I actually want to talk about some of the sacrifices that I have made, or I feel I have made personally, by deciding to move countries and leaving everything behind and starting over in a new country. I don't know why I'm leaning forward. I don't know. Maybe I should actually just, yeah. Let's bring the camera closer. There we go. So some of the things that I feel I have sacrificed, right, by moving from South Africa to England is, I have 4 things in here, but I have the one last thing is not actually a sacrifice, but it's just a reflection that I've had. If you're hearing noises in the background, please ignore them. There is an event going on at the stadium and it's so busy and noisy. So the first thing that I feel I have sacrificed the most, and probably what a lot of experts will say they have sacrificed, is friends and family and their milestones. Clear example of this: a couple of months ago, my family, an extended family, had a party for my aunt who was turning 60, and it was a huge celebration. Everyone was there, everyone from my mom's, everyone from my dad's, cousins, everybody was there. And I ended up attending the event through FaceTime, and that is when people were not too busy that they could actually hold up their phone and show me what's going on. So I feel like, and consistently, I think with a lot of experts, we feel like we're missing out on the important milestones of our family, the birth of new family members, also the death of older family members as well. Sometimes you do miss it, because in an ideal world, I would love to, go back and forth between South Africa and England to experience those things when they happen. But in reality, I actually can't, because my finances, the timing, and when those milestones actually happen do not always mix. So family and friends, big milestones, are really some of the things that you sacrifice when you choose to uproot your life and move to a different country. People get married, people starting families, especially at the age that we're at. I have friends who, are getting married, are having their weddings, they're buying their first houses, and pretty soon they're gonna have kids, and I'm not there for all of those milestones. One other thing that was very upsetting for me is that I had a first time call with my mom one day, and she was at her house, so like at her family home, and on the call there was this little guy who came up. You know how kids just love to look on your call when you're on, especially when you're on video, they want to see who's on the other side. So he just comes up, and I look at him and I'm like, hi, how are you? We greet each other. And then he's like, who are you? I don't know you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what do you mean? This was my little nephew. When I left South Africa, he was still very small. He probably couldn't talk at that point, like he was still a little baby, but now he recognized faces, he knows the people that are around him. And unfortunately he couldn't recognize me because he's never seen me. You know, like he's too young to remember the last time he saw me. So it's like those little things, like you're not in the pictures anymore, you're not in the videos anymore, you're not in the memories. And equally, as much as you're not in the memories of your friends and family at home, they also not in my memories. Like I've made pretty good memories for myself here, and none of them have my family in it, none of them have my friends from home in it. I think for me, the biggest sacrifice of all the sacrifices that I'm gonna name today, like milestones of friends and family, is the biggest one. The second one is big purchases that define success, and I put it in commas because it's not necessarily what defines success, because everyone defines their success differently. But in the eyes of society, it's those things that do define success. So big purchases like buying a car, buying a home, not buying a home, buying a house, really. So these two things are also, for me, I feel like it's some of the things that I am sacrificing by choosing to be in England. The fact that I can't buy a car here, and you might wonder, but why can't you? You can buy a car. No, I can't buy a car because I cannot afford it. And I will talk about lifestyle later on in the video if you just keep listening, right? So I can't buy a car in England because, one, I don't necessarily need it because the public transportation is really good, and two, even if I did need it, I probably would not be able to afford it because cars are very expensive here. And it makes sense, right? They are trying to deter everybody from buying the car because the public transport is that good, like you can use it. So by being here and not being back home, I feel like I have sacrificed the big purchase of a car. I've also sacrificed the big purchase of a house, because that's another thing. I cannot afford a house here, but I know if I was in South Africa, I probably would have bought a car now that I'm qualified, and I probably would be thinking around, you know, buying a house. Where am I gonna buy the house? Is it gonna be freestanding? Is it gonna be in a state? How many bedrooms? I'd be thinking along those things, and I'd probably be working towards maybe saving a deposit and all of that. And maybe being in England can help me save towards the deposit faster, because another thing of being here is that your earning potential is higher, and maybe that's another video that I will do about the actual benefits of being here. So yeah, like being here just feels like I have sacrificed my big purchases like a car. I have sacrificed buying a house, and it's one of those things that I probably would be in the process of getting or already gotten had I stayed in South Africa. My dad always likes to say that we just want to see you guys grow up, buy your own houses, buy your own cars, have your own families. I feel like to him, and coming from an older generation, to him that's what success is. Like to him, success is seeing his kids buy a car, have a house, have their own family, be able to afford their life basically. So that I think for him, the fact that I have moved to England and I'm unable to buy a car, I'm unable to buy a house, there's no family that he's seeing, it sort of feels like, is she successful? Like, what is she doing with her life, you know? And maybe it's a difference in generation, because in our generation there's nothing wrong with it. I'm living my best life, you know, I'm living the life of my dreams. But yeah, I think from a societal standards kind of thing, I feel like I am sacrificing those big purchases that define success by moving over to the UK. The third thing is romantic relationships, kids, marriage, all of those things, all of those nice things we want for ourselves. these are my personal sacrifices, right? And for somebody else, you might feel like, how are you sacrificing romantic relationships? Well, I guess it's different. But for me, right, I don't know, but something in me just feels like not being in South Africa is prolonging my chances of finding a potential partner. I don't know why I feel that way, because honestly, I could find a partner in any part of the country, you know, God willing, and if that's in God's plan, it could happen. But there's just something in my brain that is like, if you're not in South Africa, then how do you expect to find this person? Like, as if this person is solely based in South Africa. But I think the reason for that is probably because I've grown up in South Africa, and every time you envision your future, because I had not been exposed then, I envisioned my future within the bounds of South Africa. So it's very difficult now that I'm in England to imagine that I could have a family in England, or I could meet a potential partner in England and build a family for myself here. So I hope that comes across the way I'm trying to explain. But it's so difficult when all your life you've envisioned a life for yourself in a particular place, and you think it's gonna happen that way, that when a big life-changing event like moving countries occurs, your dreams are still tied to that previous life that you had, which for me is in South Africa. So I feel like it is one of the sacrifices that I've had to make. I feel like being here has meant me prolonging being in a relationship, meeting somebody, starting a family, having children, which is what society deems as success, you know. So I feel like I have had to sacrifice that. I don't know why I think I can't find a partner here, or it's not possible for me to, because it really is. Like, people here are just as normal as people in South Africa, you know. But yeah, I feel like I am sacrificing that. I feel like God still needs to work in my heart. He needs to work and help me work through this mentality that nothing can happen in that sort for me in England, because it really could. Like, if it's in God's plan, if it's what I want, He really could do it. And then the fourth thing is lifestyle. Lifestyle is a big one, and lifestyle is the one that you struggle a lot when you first arrive in whatever country you're in, because your lifestyle cannot be the same. I mean, if I look back to my lifestyle in South Africa, I had a car. I could drive myself anywhere I wanted. I had a 2-bedroom that I stayed in by myself. Here I don't have a car. Number two, I cannot even afford a 1-bedroom for me to stay by myself. So it's just a change in lifestyle also that you sacrifice. You know, you sacrifice having your own private transport to using public trains and public buses. And granted, England's public transport system is so great, but it is still a sacrifice in essence, because you can't wake up at 3 a.m. and decide to go to another place. You have to check the bus schedule, you have to check the train schedules. If the train employees, but public transport employees are on strike, that affects you. So it is sort of an adjustment in lifestyle as well in that sense. And then also, like, the change in the food that you eat, the activities that you do, it just generally changes when you move to a new country, because you start exploring new things. You don't live the same way you lived. You don't eat the same kind of foods that you used to eat. So it's a whole sacrifice when you do decide to move abroad. And the last thing is not really a sacrifice, but it's just something that I want this point to come across in the video, that if you are deciding to be an expat and you are deciding to move to a different country, you need to be okay with what you are giving up. And I have had to come to a point where I'm okay with not being in my family's memories, where I'm okay with not being in the videos, where I'm okay with not knowing the new nieces and nephews, where I'm okay that they can look at me and not recognize who this person is. I need to be okay with not buying a house, not buying a car within the first few years or for as long as I'm here. I need to come to a point where you're okay with the sacrifices, because otherwise you will be miserable in your new life. You will always try to compare, you will always try to go back to the kind of life that you had before. So you need to come to a point where you are content with what you have, with what you have sacrificed. And that contentment for me comes with being grateful for now the life that I have built for myself here, because as much as I have sacrificed all of these things to be here, I have also gained quite a lot because of being here that I probably wouldn't have gained had I not moved away from home. So I guess the whole point of the video is that there are sacrifices, and these are my personal ones that I feel I had to make, but there's always a silver lining to every situation. There are always good memories that I've had to make in the UK. There are also great things as well that I have been exposed to by being here, which otherwise I wouldn't have had I stayed back home. So it's basically how you look at it. And there's just something I've heard over the week that I maybe just want to close off this video. It basically says you need to be mindful that every time you say no to something, you are saying yes to another. So in the context of this video, that would be me saying no to staying in South Africa, being with my family, being in the pictures, buying the cars, living the lifestyle. Me saying no to that has meant I have said yes to a life in England, to a different life, to a new lifestyle, to new experiences, to new travel opportunities, to new kinds of work, to new friends, and basically to building a new life for myself, by myself. So yeah, that is the video, and I hope you guys find this video useful. If you do relate, or if you didn't think about some of the things that I mentioned here, or maybe you just really never thought about the sacrifices that you'd have to make if you are deciding or considering moving abroad, then drop me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Do not forget to subscribe and click on that super thanks button if you would like to give back to this channel. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye.